Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we are going to talk about how you can find freelancers that don't suck.
So with freelancers, where do you find most of yours right now?
Well, it depends on what they do.
Let's stick with marketing freelancers because most people here are into marketing.
Yeah, marketing freelancers, believe it or not, I've been using AngelList more and more.
I found that AngelList, AngelList isn't a bad place, but the people on there are much more expensive than some of the other
You must go
sites.
to Upwork.
I go to Upwork and Jobs.Problogger.
Oh, yeah, for writers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, if those of you that have been listening to this podcast, I mean, it's almost, I think we're at the 2-year anniversary mark, actually. I think this is 2 years. We launched August 1st, 2 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, well, this podcast isn't coming out on August 1st. But anyway, my point is this recommendation has been evergreen for us. Jobs.Problogger to find great writers, and then Upwork to find really good. I've actually found really good recruiters off Upwork, really good SEO people that kind of built their own SEO team. So these are the hustlers, right? Like even back in the day when I first started doing this marketing stuff, I actually started out on Upwork before when it was Elance. And, I started doing freelancing stuff, and eventually, like, I freelanced for a guy, and he offered me, I think it was a $200,000 salary and some, like, 5% profit sharing to move to Philadelphia. And I didn't take it, but I'm just telling you, like, those of you that are starting out with marketing, great place to start. And you actually end up, for those of you that are looking to hire, you actually end up finding a lot of great people on Upwork. And I think you have too.
I found amazing people. The biggest problem that people have with Upwork is they're like, oh, the people suck. They're not quality. It's because you're just choosing people who haven't, completed a lot of tasks, and it shows you how many projects they completed, their success ratio, and you're not looking at the reviews. So when you go in detail on all of this stuff, and then when you're hitting up people that you think that are good, when I create a conversation with them, I don't tell them, hey, and through text that, hey, I'm interested, and I start giving them descriptions. Instead, I just say, hey, here's my Skype username, please add me. So instead of chatting back and forth, I add them on Skype or they add me. I get on the phone with them. I have a conversation. I break down what I'm doing, what I'm trying to solve, and I find out what they think they can do and how many hours it's going to take. The cost is already on there on Upwork. That'll end up telling me is if they're good or if they're not. And if you're not sure, if you talk to 5 or 6 people, you'll get a good understanding of who's providing you the best feedback or ideas or who you think can execute the best. But it's not just looking at how many products they completed, the success ratio, the reviews. It's also just talking to them and figuring out what they can do for your business. Without that portion where you talk to them, I won't hire them from Upwork. And that's why I found that most of the people I hire work out is because I'm interacting with them in a form that's other than just text.
Yeah, I think there's a really good post by 37 Signals, or now known as, they just call themselves Basecamp now, but they talk about their hiring process and that's the key word, right? It's the process, a boring process, but everything is process. Most of the time when you end up making a bad hire, it's because your process sucked because you didn't verify them the right way, and then you didn't drive them through like a process that Neil's talking about where they talk and then they do some work. There's all a process, and you have to be consistent about it. So Basecamp did a really good post about how they'll bring someone on Skype first. They won't even actually talk to them on the phone. It'll usually just be like text, and it's more asynchronous that way through chat. And then they'll pay them for like a small project, see how they do. And sometimes the project might go for 2 or 3 weeks or so. And it might be something they can do during the off hours, and they'll pay them, $25 or something like that per hour, right? The good thing is with Upwork stuff, or even non-Upwork, we're talking like maybe if you're hiring a designer on Dribbble, for example, you pay them for a small project, see how they communicate with you, see how it goes, and you give them STDs. You give them stuff to do, see how it goes, and then from there, you can make a decision on whether you want to work with them long term or not.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. It's like when you're hiring contractors and people who you're trying to get at cheap labor to do a really good job, you want to test the waters out first. I see a lot of people going all in like, yeah, I'm ready to spend like $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. Why can't you just test people out for an hour or two? Even if it costs you money, it's okay if they don't produce and you're not happy. At least you didn't waste a month or two. It's not always about the money. It's about saving time. Because in business, and especially in marketing, you need to move fast. And you don't want to be stuck with someone for a whole month and then figure out that, hey, everything that they're doing sucks and this isn't going to work out. So then you have to go back to the drawing board and find someone new. And when I was starting out, my agency back in the day when I was a kid, my first one, what we would do, because we didn't have a ton of staff, we would go to like back then there was no Upwork, but we would go to different sites, find freelancers, and we would test out 5 or 6 at the same time, give them little small tasks, pay them for it, and it'll tell us which person's the best one. And then with that person, we'd give them more and more tasks. Eventually, once we took up all their hours, we would just move them into full-time.
Great. So that is it for today. Just go to singlegrain.com/giveaway to get access to our marketing goodies to grow your business, and we will see you tomorrow.